So can you see my screen right now?
Yes, everything is okay.
Okay, nice, good. So firstly, I'd like to say that I am very happy to be here. Dear, thank you for announcing me. Yeah, today I'm going to talk about large-scale global optimization using evolutionary algorithms, where we stand and what's next. Before we jump to the main part of the presentation, I'd like to note what I'm going to talk about. Firstly, of course, uh, I will tell a few words about what does large-scale global optimization mean. After that, we will talk about approaches classification. After that, approaches evaluation. The pre-last section will be about state-of-the-art approaches, what we have now, what the whole community could achieve for the last years, and of course, in the end, a few words and conclusions. And firstly, I'd like to start with the with definition the problem. As we can see, what we have to do, we have to find the set of parameters x, which will help us to achieve the global minimum of function. Here we can see the real valued variables in this problem. F here is an objective function, as I is a box constraint decision variables. And also we have some restrictions. We have no, in general, we have no idea about interaction variables inside our problem. It viewed as the model of black box. Here on the screen, in the left part, we can see chart. X-axis denotes year, Y-axis denotes documents, papers from conference, journal papers, where we can find large-scale global optimization or large-scale optimization. And as we can see, that trend grows. And the right part, we can see the spheres of human activity, where we also can face with the large-scale global optimization. The main and big area is computer science. The second one is mathematics, and the third one is engineering. Here's just few examples about applications where we have to optimize the large number of parameters. It's about shape design optimization, satellite layout design, parameter estimation in biological system, and so on. A few words about features, how we can define that we have deal with large-scale global optimization. And the main question is how large is large? Firstly, I'd like to tell that the notion of large scale is not fixed. It changes over the time. And of course, it differs from one problem to problem. And for today, if we are speaking about real valued parameters, it's a variety between 1,000 up to 5,000. Of course, it can be, let's say, shifted, but the target, let's say, numbers of features or variables are, let's say, noted. Why large-scale global optimization problems are difficult? The first reason is the curse of dimensionality. The short space grows exponentiality when the number of variables grows, and usually we have the limited number of experiments with the fitness function. We do not have unlimited budget, and of course we are limited by the time. Here it's I'm going to talk about classification of modern approaches, how we can handle with the residual problems. As you can see, we have two big branches. The first branch is about non-decomposition methods, and the second branch is about cooperative coevolution methods. And let's start from the first group, non-decomposition methods. Here, it can be divided by three groups. The first group is about sampling and variation operators. The main idea of this group is to improve the performance of traditional operators. For example, if we are speaking about differential evolution, scientists try to improve mutation or crossover operators, especially for larger dimensions. And here you can see the reference, for example, number 7. The paper is about improving mutation operators and crossover. The second subgroup, let's say, about approximation methods and surrogate modeling. I'd like to say in advance that this group is not so popular, but anyway, I have to talk about this one. The idea is the following: because we have, as I mentioned before, we have the limited number of experiments. What we do in the beginning stage of optimization, we have to calculate few points. Of course, it depends from approach to approach, but we have to calculate a few points and try to approximate our optimization problem. And after that, work only with the model, not with the problem, only with model. And after that, when we are when we make sure that we can try to calculate new some possible solution and evaluate fitness function real problem, we do this one. And the third subgroup is about mimetic algorithms and local search algorithms. Mimetic algorithms, it's a sort of evolutionary algorithms. An idea of this family algorithms is just make the final solution a bit better. Usually they do not have the same features as evolutionary based algorithms. I'm talking about some exploration, but usually they're very good to with local optimization. I mean, some limited area, searching area, just to reach more better solution. And the second branch is about cooperative coevolution methods or decomposition methods. Here in this presentation, I will use this term as a synonym sometimes. The main idea of decomposition approaches is divide and rule. A large problem, optimization problem, can be subdivided into smaller and more simpler problems. Here on the slide, you can see the main idea of cooperative coevolution framework. Firstly, I have to note that cooperative coevolution is not optimizer. It's a coordinator how subcomponent optimizer is applied to subcomponents. And here on the picture, here some example. We have large optimization vector with many parameters. We divide this huge vector into smaller sub-problems and try to optimize them independently each other using some evolutionary algorithm or any other optimizer. Firstly, this approach was proposed in 1994 by Porter and Yon, and they have proposed two algorithms, CCGA1 and CCGA2, and they have shown that we can increase the performance of traditional genetic algorithm in solving optimization problem using cooperative coevolution framework. And yeah, the first subgroup of cooperative coevolution methods is about static grouping. The idea that before the run of algorithm, we have to decide the size of subcomponents, how many subcomponents we will use, and the number of individuals. And after that run, but in most cases, it's very risky because we have no idea about interaction between variables. But if we know the structure of problem, if we are solving not just black box, if it's a white or gray box, this method will perform very well. And also other algorithms very popular, and right now they're very, let's say, classic, CPSO and CCDE. Random dynamic methods, they're quite close to the static grouping, but the main difference that after some predefined number of fitness evaluations, we have to mix variables in subcomponents and reset the parameters of algorithm and just continue optimization process. Here you can see for algorithms which uses random dynamic methods. And the third subgroup in cooperative coevolution methods is about learning dynamic methods. Sometimes it's needed to find the interaction between the variables. And the question here, how to identify the interaction of decision variables and group them into the same subcomponents. And here on the slides, you can see very simple example about interaction variables. Here I have to note that the performance of evolutionary algorithms is affected by how much they take variable interaction into account. In the left picture here, we can see that we can optimize the variables independently each other. For example, we can fix the one variable and try to find the optimum on one variable, and after that continue optimization process on other variable because we have no interaction. But here, because we have multiplication in the distance, the last part of the formula, it's impossible to do this one, and it's better to group these variables into the same group if we are speaking about cooperative coevolution methods. And because I have the limited time here for presentation, I can't tell about all state-of-the-art and modern learning dynamic methods, but here I just want to show you how differential grouping works. It's a very classic and common methods how to identify interaction between variables. And here we can see on the picture that we have calculate 4 points and calculate delta 1, delta 2, and we have a very simple condition about detecting non-separable variables. If the difference between delta 1 and delta 2 in modular more than epsilon, it means that the variables are non-separable. But if it's lower than epsilon, value. It means that we can put them in the different groups. I mean, in different sub-components. And here you can see the most popular algorithms which use some sort of differential grouping. So a few words about differential grouping. Of course, it has some advantages and some disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that it cannot detect the overlapping functions. I mean, it can't detect the variables in overlapping functions. Slow if all interactions are to be checked if you're speaking about large dimension. Of course, it also needs a threshold parameter, but based on numerical experiments, the scientists not found the range of this parameter, like recommended range of parameter. And of course, this sort of algorithms for detecting separable and non-separable variables are very sensitive for threshold parameters. And here's a small example. The minimum number of unique function evaluations can be calculated using the following formula. And if we are speaking about 1,000 variables, it's the most common number of variables in benchmarks about LCGO. We need a bit more than 500,000 fitness evaluations, but budget of the last and actual benchmark is 3 million evaluations. The idea that sometimes it's better to spend 500,000 evaluations just to try to optimize the problem, not to define the interactions between variables. And the main questions about cooperative evolution, how to decompose the problem, what's the way will be better for us, because I mentioned again that usually we have deal with the black box optimization, and we have no idea about the problem. Of course, after running algorithm to find the connection between variables, we can a bit, let's say, clarify situation, but sometimes it doesn't help. How to allocate resources between subcomponents. Subcomponents is mostly also about how many individuals do we need if we are speaking about population-based algorithm. And of course, the main question, how to select optimizer. But here, based on a lot of papers, based on a lot of numerical experiments, if we take a very powerful optimizer, for example, if we take shade algorithm, shade is a sort of differential evolution, quite powerful algorithm which self-adapts parameters during the optimization process. And on the other hand, we take classic differential evolution without adaptation parameters. The cooperative coevolution algorithm with the shade optimizer on average will work better than the same cooperative coevolution algorithm with the classic differential algorithm like optimizer subcomponents. So here we will talk about benchmark sets. For example, you propose, implement your own evolutionary algorithm for solving LCGO problems and how to evaluate the performance. A brief history about benchmark. The first benchmark especially for solving high-dimensional problems, was proposed in 2008. It consists of 7 problems with 100, 500, and 1000 dimensions, and the features is just the shifted global optimum. It has very classic and traditional benchmark problems, and implementation was on MATLAB and C++. But after later 2 years in 2010, the community was proposed other improved benchmark. It consists of 20 problems, and they added partially separable functions and rotated functions. And also they implement on Java. And the last and actual benchmark was proposed 10 years ago, 2013. Somebody can ask where is the new one, for example, from 2020 or something like that. But the thing is that up to date, there is no LCGO algorithm who can solve all problems, because some of these problems couldn't be solved. And the features we added here, it's like non-uniform subcomponent sizes, imbalance in the condition of subcomponents, functions with overlapping subcomponents, and new transformations to the base functions. The scientists add these features to make harder the process of finding separated and non-separated variables. And of course, a few words about performing numerical experiments. Evaluating an LCGO solutions is time-consuming. It takes a lot of time, even right now, because of course the progress does not stay still on one place. Every year we can see the more, let's say, performed processors and working machines, but anyway, it's still challenging task if you'd like to evaluate some approach many times with different parameters to collect statistics. I strongly do recommend to use cluster or at least multi-core processor to parallelize experiments. What we have in our studies, we have computational cluster, which consists of 8 computers. One main computer calls like a master PC, and other 7 computers. We run the algorithm on master PC, and master PC via network switch sends to the some individual task to the other computers. Each computer has 8 cores and 16 threads. It's in total 64 cores and 128 threads. It really helps to save time. It looks like in real, he's a master PC, he's other workers. And so, for example, you evaluate the performance of your algorithm. And what's next? Of course, you can try to find articles with about which consist of the results of state-of-the-art approaches, and from each article try to exclude the performance of algorithm, put this in the Excel or CSV file, and write your own code in Python or something like that. But in the beginning, I do recommend to use Tacolab website. It's a platform was written especially to compare algorithms between each other, especially for large-scale global, especially on large-scale global optimization benchmark, but it's also, if I remember right, it's possible to compare algorithms on real value, also real value parameters optimization benchmark CC from 2017, I think. Yeah, this service or website has very friendly interface. You just need to select the algorithm you'd like to compare, your algorithm, and select what you want to see, just run comparison or some comparison with visualization, as you can see on the slide. Yeah, just remind TAC or your lab. And a few words about state-of-the-art approaches. Here on the slide, you can see the top 4 algorithms in solving the last version of benchmark about LCGO. The first algorithm is MOS. MOS is very popular. It's a multiply of sprint sampling. The classic version of this algorithm, it's a hybridization of real coded genetic algorithm, solid and wets, and multiply trajectory search, LS1. And the second, and right now it's a leader, Shade ALS. It's also hybrid Shade algorithm as a main optimizer. And in the brackets, you can see the name of local based approaches, and also Shade ALS has some restart mechanism. For example, if the algorithm detects some stagnation or very slow convergence, it restarts the population and the parameters of algorithm. Other algorithms you see are DG3, and this algorithm before run tries to find interaction between variables and put them if they're not non-separable. This method tries to put them in the same subcomponent, and as a subcomponent optimizer, authors use SEMA ES algorithm. And also one of the most powerful algorithms, ML Shade SPA. It's a hybridization of 3 different differential evolutionary based algorithm and multiply trajectory search algorithm. And here on this slide, I try to put other popular algorithms, and I also try to show the components, what they have inside. The most important columns here, the first, the second, third, and fourth. Plus, it means that the algorithm from row has this component. It's a cooperative evolution. DE, it's a differential evolution. It's not always classic version. It can be also, like I noted before, some shade algorithm or other some combinations, but anyway, some sort of differential evolution. And LS means local search algorithm. And as you can see, it's not only one trend. For example, just always use cooperative evolution and you will beat other algorithms, or just add differential evolution or local search. And here I'm going to talk also a bit about the last proposed approach for solving large-scale global optimization problems. The main idea of our proposed algorithm first is a multi-level and adaptive cooperative coevolution approach with the random grouping. before run the algorithm, we have to predefine the set of subcomponents what we'll use. Here we have 3 sets of subcomponents, 1, 2, and 4. It means that during the optimization process, we have to balance between one subcomponent. It means that there is no papirific evolution, it's just applying shade algorithm as optimizer. 2 means that we use 2 subcomponents, and 4, of course, means we use 4 subcomponents. And of course, here we use adaptation of the size of the population based on the diversity. The logic is very simple. If we have low diversity, we have to increase the population. If we have high level of diversity, we have to increase the population. And of course, we use local search algorithm to find, to improve the solution in a local area. So here you can see the behavior of algorithm. I try to find the different behavior of the algorithm, depends on the fitness function. And okay, let's look at this picture. The first subplot denotes convergence graph, and these results we can obtain in 25 independent runs. This line denotes the mean value, and the second one denotes the population size. We start from 100 individuals, and as I noted before, if the algorithm denote that the diversity is not enough right now, if we have very fast convergence in the beginning of the optimization process, we have to add more individuals. And the third subgraph denotes the redistribution of resources. Resources means fitness function evaluations, how much we can give to the subcomponent. Here it's I index. It's not the number of subcomponents. It's just index of the set the subcomponents. And yes, I noted in the beginning of this slide that it depends on the function. We can see the different behavior of the algorithm from function to function. Sometimes the population goes down very quickly. Sometimes it rises up, and of course we can see the different redistribution of resources. For example, here it's much more better to use the first set. That's the reason why the algorithm decided to add more resources to the first set of subcomponents. And yeah, based on the results of the state-of-the-art algorithms, we could calculate the rank. Rank is based on the mean solution which we can obtain in 25 independent runs. And based on this comparison, our algorithm is placed on the second place. Yeah, as I note, shade ALS right now is a unbeatable algorithm, but we could achieve better performance than MOS, Shade SPA, and CC RDG3. The difference between the results not so far as we have between the leader, Shade ALS, but anyway, we could achieve better results on average than other algorithms. And a few words as in conclusion. and also a few words about further direction. In the last 15 years, there are a lot of approaches has been proposed. As you could see, if we're talking about non-decomposition, and of course with decomposition approaches. Cooperative coevolution is an effective framework for optimization problems with many objective variables, but here I have to note, in the case if we could find the, let's say, good or it's a suitable number of subcomponents, and we could group quite well variables in these groups. Component optimizer, of course, plays an important role if we are speaking about cooperative coevolution. And it's very important to look to the way using hybrid algorithms, because as we can see that most of the leaders, it's some hybridization which uses the principle of exploration and local searching. And here on this slide, I try to collect as I can say the best references if you'd like to jump in the sphere of large scale global optimization. I do recommend to start from these 3 papers. The first 2 papers is a very big survey which has 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And the third reference is quite old, 2015, but anyway, it consists also a lot of useful information about the large-scale global optimization, a lot of reference for the first approaches and so on. And of course, tackle up the website to compare your results and the results from other scientists in a case in this area, in this domain. So yeah, thank you for your attention from my side. That's all. Please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much for very interesting presentation. So colleagues, we have enough time to discuss everything you want. So please, questions. Well, I can start discussion. My first question is, you have talked about decomposition methods. Of course, it's very interesting from, so how to say, scientific point of view, to get knowledge about true decomposition. That means that if a problem has some components which separate from another one, and you can discover these separate components, you will get information about this function. That means that your black box become white box. But the question is it necessary to solve optimization problem? For solving optimization problem, evolutionary algorithms can deal with a black box. Maybe it's much better to find not correct decomposition, but efficient decomposition, which will better suit evolutionary algorithms. But at the same time, maybe it's not a separable component.
Yeah, it's a very fair. Yeah, thank you for your question. It's a very fair question, and it's open question. Sometimes we don't need to have to know true connection between variables. We just can apply the cooperative coevolution, just mix random variables in subcomponents. The optimization process will be very well, but sometimes it doesn't work. And it's mostly question, I think, about some self-adaptation during the optimization process. It's another way, further way, how to increase the performance of such methods. Try to detect which decomposition method is better just right now for the problem we are trying to solve, and apply it. Because if we, for example, here's to evaluate in one generation with M subcomponents and some predefined population size, it needs M multiply pop size fitness evaluations. For example, if we have the problem with 1000 variables, and after some learning methods, we can say that, oh, okay, we know that all variables are all variables can be placed in the separated subcomponents, but it doesn't mean that we'll use 1000 subcomponents, because in this case we can be faced with the following problem, that we'll not have enough function evaluations to evolve the population and achieve better solution.
Okay, I see. And one more question. This picture, you use evolutionary algorithms to optimize any subcomponent.
Yeah.
So the question is it necessary to use only evolutionary approach? Can we apply here any other approaches? If dimension is not very big, for example, we can use deterministic global optimization algorithms, or maybe a local search algorithm, which very fast converges to some good solution.
If we don't need to calculate derive the function, because the thing is that we do not have the formula of the problem, because the problem is defined as defined algorithmically. If the algorithm can optimize, can work with the problem, with the what we are trying to solve here, it's okay. It's let's say, feel free to use any other optimization algorithm. Even if we can use some random search or any other one.
Well, it's just an interesting idea because, for example, yesterday we had very good keynote lecture about deterministic global optimization method, but as presenter said, usually it's constrained with low dimensions. But if your subcomponent has such dimension, those algorithms are rather efficient. And sometimes we can, if even we have black box, we can try to make approximation of gradients to use some state-of-the-art methods with derivatives. Well, I think it's an idea to try next. Can it perform better or the same as evolutionary algorithms, which usually need more calculation, even the problem is not very hard. Well, thank you very much for your questions. Yes, I see Professor Semenkin has a question.
Yes, first of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
First of all, I would suggest to be careful in using gradient-like methods in black boxes, because maybe such a black box that presents function that is not continuously differentiable. But nevertheless, the first question is, you gave such a slide with list of sampling and variation operators. Could you please specify what does it mean quantum behaved particle swarm? Because others I understand, but quantum behaved particle swarm, what is it?
Truly, I do not exactly remember what's this article about, but it's I just like to repeat that all of this method is how to improve the classic and traditional operators of the evolutionary based algorithms.
Yes, I understand, but opposition-based sampling, center-based sampling, competitive swarm optimizer, social learning, mutation operators, it's understandable. But quantum behaved particle swarm, what should swarm or the particles in the swarm do to behave in quantum way? Okay, next question is, could you please present the list of practical problems to be solved with these approaches? Yeah, real world.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Are you talking about this slide, I think?
Yes, but nevertheless, in more details.
What do you mean, some description or?
Yes.
But for example, here it's the link number 3. It's about comparing the large-scale global optimization competition winners in a real-world problem. Here, the authors compare 3 high-performed evolutionary algorithms in solving practical problems. In this paper, they are trying to optimize the parameters of MRI, if I remember correctly, the abbreviation. It's about the scanning of brain, and in practice, we can face with some errors in scanning brains using such method. And the idea is that to get more clear, let's say, picture of brain, for doctors to analyze how brain works, it's better to apply a special filter, and filter can be the unique. We need to tune it from the let's say from the machine to machine. And this problem is simulation of this real world application. They have 3 different dimensions, a bit more than 1,000 variables, 3,700 and something variables, and 4,000 with something variables.
Yeah, you are speaking about, let me say, benchmark problems. I mean your own experience, the problem in hand.
I try to solve this problem from the link number 3, and the proposed algorithm also could achieve the same result of fitness function that we can find in the paper. And also as the especially algorithm for optimizing these parameters, and it means that all of this algorithm, of course, I can definitely say, but with a high probability, I can say that the values which authors presented in the paper and our algorithm could find it's the global optimum in these problems.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have still time for discussion, so if anybody would like to ask question, please. Okay, maybe I will ask the last one. Okay, you have talked about benchmark problems, but all these problems usually are artificial problems. I see that these problems are very hard and maybe much harder than problems that we can find in real world application. My question is, are there any benchmarks which contain real world problems for large scale global optimization? Maybe there exist some competitions on large scale global optimization when we solve something from practice, from real world applications.
From my side, yeah, thank you for your question. From my side, I could find only benchmark set which consists of the real world problems with low dimensions and was in the special session about real world parameter optimization, but I didn't see the benchmark set you're talking about with the about large scale global optimization in the real
Yes,
world applications.
it's a known
Yeah.
benchmark. Do you know there is competitions from European Space Agency about designing different space trajectories to reach other planets or some control system to discover other planets?
I just heard about that, and if I also remember well from my side, it's only one high-dimensional problem. It's the problem about tuning the mask of the camera which has been installed on a rover. And the rover, the idea that the rover is on the Mars, and the rover should go from point A to point B, and it has tried to find the shortest, or let's say optimum way, and it has convolution neural network and other filters for pictures, and we need to optimize these parameters. But about the optimizing trajectory, also, if I remember correctly from my side, the dimensions are not so high. I mean, less than 200 variables, I think.
Okay, I see. Maybe 200 is also hard problem. As you said before, we don't know how large is large.
Yeah.
Sometimes a dozen of variables can be very hard for optimization algorithm.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, thank you again. If anybody have question, you still have a chance. Otherwise, we will finish this tutorial. Okay. Thank you again for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Should I? Yeah. May I just start?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, friends, and it's my great honor to be here to deliver this speech for today. I'm sorry for being a little bit late, but I will try to finish everything within 45 minutes as reminded by the conference organizer. Basically, today I'm going to talk about a meta optimization algorithm we invented, which is called the Beetle antenna search. Well, we are going to present our formulation of the problem, which was inspired by biological behaviors and generalize mathematically to a general purpose optimization problem. Well, we know that this is this picture shows a small beetle, and we know that there are two antennas. One is on the left, the other one is on the right. Well, we observe an interesting behavior of the beetle. think about how does the beetle look for foods in an environment. Usually, the beetle is far away originally from the food, and it cannot see immediately of the food. Then the beetle needs to use the antenna to detect where is the food. But how? The basic logic played by the antenna of the beetle is like, okay, the left antenna of the beetle sample the food smell strength, and the right one also sample the signal strength, and they compare. If the left hand side antenna receive a higher signal strength or higher smell strength, then the beetle will turn a little bit to the left because it will conclude a little bit that, okay, the left hand side, because my antenna receive a higher signal strength, I conclude the food must locate to the left hand side. Therefore, the beetle turn a little bit to the left and move one step. And in the new location, after one step movement, the beetle will repeat the behavior, which is sample the signal strength using its left and right antenna. If one antenna has a higher signal strength than the other one, then it will move, make a turn to that side and move one step further. And by repeating this very simple behavior, the beetle will be able to finally localize the food. This is basically the foraging behaviors of a beetle. And inspired by this kind of behavior, if we do an analogy of this kind of behavior to the mathematical optimization problem, the food smell strength distribute in a space, which is usually a two-dimensional or three-dimensional space for the beetle case. And the beetle is exactly optimizing the smell function by trying to find the maximum, and especially globally maximum, of this smell function in the space, so that, because there is a pre-assumption, the maximum smell point must be the location of the food. Well, the beetle just use this kind of simple logic to find the global optimum of this smell function. Definitely, the beetle has no idea of the global distribution of the function originally, which means the beetle is doing the food searching using a completely model-free manner. And now the problem is that, can we generalize this beetle behavior to general purpose optimization problem so that we can use this kind of behavior to develop bio-inspired algorithms for general model-free optimization? This is what motivates us to do this kind of research. And later, I will show you how do we mathematically formulate it and how do we invent the beetle antenna search algorithm. But basically, based on this kind of biological inspiration, you can identify some uniqueness of this type of beetle antenna search algorithm in comparison with some other rival method. For example, PSO, which is a particle swarm optimization. You know, for PSO, it is model-free, and it does not require the model, but PSO requires many particles. But here, the beetle antenna search only require a single particle or single beetle. Because it only requires a single beetle, therefore, the computational burden is much lower than PSO. And as later you can realize, there are totally 4 lines of codes for the beetle antenna search to summarize the behaviors of the beetle. Therefore, the computational burden or the implementation overhead of this kind of beetle antenna search algorithm is super low. And you can even deploy this algorithm to any kind of computers, including the micro controller, or even using analog devices to construct a very simple circuit to do very fast model-free optimization. Well, this is a picture shows the basic principle of beetle foraging. supposedly we have a pizza here, and the smell strength of this pizza smell distribute in the space as shown here. Definitely, this is a globally optimal point with the maximum smell strength. And the Beetle originally is here and use two antennas to detect the signal strength, the smell strength. And it realized at this moment, the right-hand side antenna has a higher signal strength. Therefore, the Beetle at this location turn to the right direction a little bit and move one step further and come to this location and do the detection for the two antennas and check the signal strength. And then turn to the, because at this location, the right-hand side Beetle antenna has a higher strength. Therefore, it turn to the right direction and then move one step further. At this location, because the hiding of this Beetle is in this way, the left antenna receive a higher signal strength. Therefore, at this step, it's going to turn to the left-hand side and move one step and come to this location. And finally, the Beetle is able to move gradually towards to the south to the maximum point, and finally find the global maximum. Well, this is basically the behaviors of Beetle, and this is our algorithm. This is a mathematical formulation of this problem. Okay, if we abstract the Beetle to be a mass point, this is the center of this mass point. This represents the Beetle, and on the left-hand side, we define the left antenna. On the right-hand side, we define the right antenna. We assume the left antenna point, the right antenna point, and the center of mass are exactly on the same line. And there is a distance between the left and the right antenna point. We define this one as D0. And every time, because the hiding direction, when the Beetle moves, we randomly generate a hiding direction for the Beetle, which is like the first line of the code. This is basically MATLAB code. We generate, this is a generalized to n-dimensional space. In n-dimensional space, we generate a random variable. We define it as dir, and we normalize it so that the length of dir is equal to 1. And then, so the XL is the location of the left antenna. XR is the location of the right antenna. D0 is the length of the antenna. So therefore, left antenna location minus right antenna location will be equal to D0 times dir represents direction, right? D0 only represents the length of the straight line from left to the right antenna. And therefore, we can, based on this kind of a reasoning, we can conclude that X represents the center of mass, represents the location of the Beetle. XL will be equal to X plus D0 times dir divided by 2. And XR, which is the location of the right antenna, will be in this way, because here we have a minus sign to represent that this is a right antenna, this is a left antenna. And finally, we have this code to summarize the behaviors of the Beetle. The first line, again, it is the definition of the hiding direction or the antenna direction of the Beetle. dir finally is a normalized n-dimensional vector. And then accordingly, we can obtain the value for XL and XR. XL is the location of the left antenna point. XR is the location of the right antenna point, both of which are vectors. And then we do the sampling. The sampling is that XL is a location, XR is a location of the antenna, but we need to obtain the signal strength at left antenna and the signal strength at right antenna. So F left is equal to the function F. Function F is a function to be optimized. So we sample the value fxl, we sample the value of fxr, and then we know the signal strength. Then we do the comparison of f left and f right. So this sign, if this is a sign function, if f left, the left antenna signal strength is higher than right antenna signal strength, then sign will be greater than will be equal to 1. Otherwise, that will be -1. Well, look at this update equation. So the new location of the Beetle will be updated based on the location of the Beetle in the last time step, which is x, minus step is a step length. dir is a direction to move. If the left-hand side signal antenna signal strength is greater than right-hand side, this one is equal to 1. And then, so x will move along this direction for 1 step. Well, otherwise, it will move to the opposite direction for 1 step. By repeating this procedure, we will finally be able to localize the maximum point of f. But here, we have some tricks for the step length to avoid possible local optima. The basic rule for this step length is that we can exponentially update the step length so that step length is geometrically reducing by setting the original step length to be super big. The idea is like, originally, the Beetle walks in a very large step, and gradually it reduces the step length. The benefit for this kind of modulation of the step length is that because originally the step length is very big, so the Beetle has a very big probability to walk out of the local optima. But gradually, as we reduce the step length, the greediness of the Beetle is increased. And finally, it is able to converging to a fine-grained searching so that it can accurately localize the local optima, so that originally work more on the global searching and gradually more converging to the local searching. Therefore, we combine together the behavior to generate a perfect solution. So this is basically the step length strategy summarized here. Well, we also theoretically proved the global convergence of this algorithm in probability 1 by using stochastic analysis, because in this algorithm, we have some random mechanism, and we can somehow view this problem or this procedure as a Markov chain. And finally, we can theoretically, for this Markov chain, actually, one more thing to remind. Only the global optima point is a global abstraction state. Therefore, for this Markov chain, it has a trend to globally converge to the global optima. This is a basically dominating mechanism for the global convergence with a probability 1. Well, this is some simulation verification. This is the test function, which is look at this left picture. This is a 10-dimensional function, but we only project it to 2-dimensional space. As you can observe, here we have a local optima at this position, but we also have another local optima at this location. Therefore, there are multiple local optimas. But after if we run this experiment, we can observe that after 60 iterations, the Beetle has successfully converged to the global optima. If you look at this trajectory, this is the trajectory of the Beetle in 10-dimensional space, projected to 2-dimensional only for visualization purpose. Originally, the Beetle is here, and gradually it comes to here, benefiting from the step length strategy, so that it can avoid this local optima. This is another experimental verification, as you can observe, only using 20 iterations, the algorithm successfully converged to this global optima by starting from this location. This is basically the movement of the Beetle step by step. Well, this is basically the theoretical foundation and the biological motivation of this algorithm, the theoretical foundation of this algorithm, and our initial numerical verification of this algorithm. Later, I'm going to show you some applications, because this algorithm was invented by us 5 years ago. It has been 5 years. And if you Google Beetle antenna search, or its abbreviation BAS, you can find a lot of follow-up research based on our original formulation of this algorithm. It's nowadays has been widely used in industry for different applications. But in summary of those applications, the reason that they prefer to use BAS or Beetle antenna search rather than some other algorithms, for example, PSO, the main motivation for them to use it is that BAS is a single particle. Therefore, it's super fast, faster than PSO. That is the point one. Point two is that BAS only have 4 lines of code for its main part. It can be written on microcontrollers. It can be constructed by analog devices. It can be constructed for any programming language and or any microcontroller. And you can never imagine that you implement PSO or genetic algorithm on a microcontroller, but it's quite easy to be implemented on using BAS because it is so simple and the computational cost is so low. Well, but it's still quite powerful, model-free, and globally convergent. This is the application of BAS for PID parameter tuning. As you can find that with BAS, you can online optimize the PID parameters. It is super suitable to industrial procedures, especially for those situations that you want periodically update your PID parameters based on the working conditions. This is an application of BAS to drone navigation. As you can see that it's able to generate an obstacle-free optimal path, so connecting from the starting point to the ending point using the Beetle antenna search algorithm. This is using Beetle antenna search for motion planning of a 6 degrees of freedom robotic arm with some additional constraint. This is the application of Beetle antenna search for gyroscopic sensor noise rejection. This is a Beetle antenna search algorithm applied to portfolio optimization, which is a topic widely used in quantitative finance for investment. The reason that they use this algorithm is that, again, it is super fast and it can be used in high frequency trading. This is for humanoid robots, obstacle avoidance and navigation using Beetle antenna search. This is using Beetle antenna search for bearing fault diagnosis. This is using Beetle antenna search for aerospace applications for online parameter tuning. This is an application of Beetle antenna search for power plant, as you can observe, optimization. This is using Beetle antenna search for robotic sensor calibration. This is using Beetle antenna search for heat pump energy optimization. This is a use. This is another use. This is the development of FPGA hardware for the implementation of Beetle antenna search. They use the FPGA to implement Beetle antenna search. Therefore, they can further speed up the running of the BAS. This is using BAS for multiple objective optimization and generating the Pareto frontier for their algorithm, for their problem. This is using BAS for high-dimensional optimization problem. In this published paper, the user tested a case for 10,000 dimensional problem using Beetle antenna search, and the final result only use around 5 seconds to find the global optima for this 10,000 dimensional problem, which demonstrates the efficiency of this algorithm. But one thing to remember is that they didn't directly use the original version of BAS. They modified the BAS original algorithm. But actually nowadays, there are so many variant algorithms for BAS. The basic idea is that they mutate the original version of BAS with different model-free optimization technique so that they can amplify the advantage of BAS and overcome the existing drawback of BAS so that to convert BAS to a more powerful version. This is using BAS for state of charge monitoring of a battery. This is using BAS for soldering, for the image, the detection of soldering performance. This is using BAS for power line fault detection. This is using BAS for image enhancement. So actually, one thing to remember is that some of the work I introduced about the applications are not from ourselves, because there are so many follow-up research on Beetle antenna search. Some of the published paper I reported here is from the internet, from the published papers. It is by some other authors who are using Beetle antenna search to do further extension or further enhancement of the original algorithm or further application to industrial scenarios. This is for the energy reservation using BAS. This is for the optimization of water energy generation systems. This is for BAS for unmanned surface vessel navigation. This is for the detection of fault. And there are so many applications nowadays using BAS. I cannot enumerate all of them, but if you search in Google on BAS, Beetle antenna search, you can find many applications. But the basic idea or basic recipe to use Beetle antenna search for different applications is that you can firstly search particle swarm optimization with your interested application. And then you can replace the PSO part with Beetle antenna search. And with the benefit for this replacement is that in comparison with the PSO optimized version of your application, you can get faster convergence and easy deployment to industrial low-end computers. And definitely you can use the enhanced version of BAS. This is a basic recipe to develop Beetle antenna search enhanced applications. Here we have some other algorithms or variant algorithms using BAS. This is using BAS together with for predictive collision avoidance for ocean engineering applications. This is the using Adam algorithm, which was popularly used nowadays in machine learning to enhance the searching efficiency of original gradient descent algorithm. But now researchers applied topped Adam up to BAS and received a performance improvement for the original BAS algorithm. And this is a single Beetle is able to do global optimization. This researcher is thinking that if we have a swarm of Beetle, the success of particle swarm optimization comes from the interaction between different particles. While the success of original Beetle antenna search comes from the searching behavior of the Beetle antenna. If we combine the two behaviors together to develop a Beetle swarm optimization, probably we are able to achieve better performance. This researcher actually comes out with a version of a Beetle swarm optimization by combining the two algorithms together. And this is a Beetle Beetle antenna search together with it is called BCO, Beetle colony optimization. It is also kind of like Beetle swarm version of Beetle, but they are using a different strategy. Well, basically, this inspires us that there are many different kind of strategies to mutate BAS together with other swarm behaviors by reaching different version of swarm or Beetle antenna search. But definitely you can also develop your own swarm version of Beetle search. This is a BPNN BAS, which is the combination of Beetle antenna search together with artificial neural networks. There are many different, and also this is a Q-learning Beetle antenna search, which is introduce Q-learning, which is a kind of a reinforcement learning together with the BAS to make BAS more reward sensitive so that it can do self-learning. This is a RNN version of BAS, which is a recurrent neural network together with BAS for the optimization of neural network weights. As you can observe, they apply it to robotic obstacle avoidance, and they can successfully draw a desired circle, and also in the meanwhile avoid the obstacle. There are some testing functions widely used in meta optimization, like this function, which includes many local optimum. And there are many testing functions. I just put some over here, but definitely you can search on the internet for the test functions of global optimization and develop your own varied version of Beetle antenna search and test over this kind of testing function. There are many documents released on the internet about Beetle antenna search. You can simply search on the internet for the keyword Beetle antenna search to find related study materials and published papers. This is the reference for this slide. Thank you for your attention. In case you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So, colleagues, we have time for discussion and questions. Please feel free to ask what you want to know about this algorithm. Okay, maybe I'll begin discussion. For me, it seems that Beetle search algorithm is too greedy. That's why it can converge very fast, and I see from many real-world applications like PID control setting and so on. In these problems, usually fast convergence is more efficient than very, how to say, very uniform global search. how we can guarantee global convergence for hard multimodal problems?
Yeah, that is a great question. Indeed, there are some, if we go to the model part. So if we look at the formula of the searching formula of the Beetle antenna search, the left antenna and the right antenna comparison is kind of like a directional gradient, right? Along the antenna direction, which is a directional gradient. And the antenna, the Beetle is kind of like follow that kind of direction, but still a little bit different. For high dimensional problem, rather than evaluate the gradient for all the possible directions, only 2 samples, no matter how high the dimension is, even for 1,000 dimensions, you only need 2 samples each step, just left and right antenna. Therefore, this algorithm is scalable to high dimensional space. The complexity does not increase with the increase of the dimension. That is point 1. Your second question was like, how can we guarantee the global convergence? The key, so if we directly look at this formula, indeed, people will doubt whether this algorithm will be too greedy to not be able to escape from the local optima. The key trick here is that the step length. Originally, we set the step length to be very big. Imagine that if we are walking on a hill, the hill also have the local optima and the global optima. If we set the step length, if we detect, okay, the local gradient of the hill at this location, and then we follow the gradient direction to move. But instead of moving very small step, we move very huge step. Because the walk length is so huge, we are able to avoid the local optima. But you may have the second question. If you walk so big, your local gradient estimation does not make sense any longer. But here, when the step length is big, the antenna length is also big, means that the left antenna and the right antenna will be far away when we have a big step length, meaning that originally we have a really big Beetle, but gradually the size of the Beetle shrink, because at the beginning, the Beetle size is very big. It is able to escape from the local optima. But the basic, mathematically speaking, the reason is that the step length is a low pass spatial filter. If the originally step length is quite big, the bandwidth of the space filtering will be very low. It's kind of like we low pass the terrain of the space originally, so that we can get a global picture or global shape of the terrain. And gradually, when we reduce the step length, some tricky things, some small changes of the shape will appear in the final optimized function. Therefore, we are able to reach global optima. This is basically the mechanism. This is our key idea to theoretically prove the global convergence.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder that many global search algorithms, especially evolutionary algorithms, have mutation step. It's absolutely random trial to get new point in a search space. And of course, I see how you can make big steps to escape local optima.
Yeah,
but I would like to see here something like mutation to make very big jump in random direction.
Yeah, right. There are different, actually, this is a different mechanism from the genetic algorithm. Genetic mechanism algorithm, actually, it is using the mutation or the this kind of a mechanism to escape from the local optima. And the particle swarm optimization, they have some other tricks to escape from local optima. But here for Beetle antenna search, we have a new recipe to avoid the local optima. I would like to say this is a little bit different from in terms of the mechanism.
Yeah, so very interesting. And
Thank you.
It's very interesting to transfer these ideas to other algorithms. Maybe to improve hybrid algorithms usually operates better than two standalone approaches. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Thank you.
Colleagues, we still have time for questions, please.
May I ask question?
Yeah, please.
Garnov Alexander. When you said about big problem, big optimization problem, what number of variables in this problem?
You mean the in the problem to be optimized, all the parameters, the number of parameters, or what do you mean by the number of variables?
Number of variables.
Number of variables.
Dimensionality of the
You mean the dimensionality of X, right? It could be any. The general, the main contribution is like we generalized the behavior of beetles from two-dimensional space to n-dimensional space, so that we can address the general numerical optimization problems, which includes any kind of dimensions, even like n dimension.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
More questions, please.
In case you have interest to this algorithm, feel free to contact me. In email or maybe I can leave my email address here. How can I type in the information? Because in the slides I didn't put my email address here, but basically, if you have interest in Beetle antenna search, or if you have interest in generating some other, for example, like some other, I met a researcher several years ago. They mentioned, after my talk about this algorithm, he mentioned one interesting idea. Like when we hear things using our ear, our ear is also two of them. When we hear, how do I know what is the orientation of the speaker? We also use our ear to judge which direction has a higher volume. And if the left ear has received a higher volume, I just turn left a little bit, right? So basically, if you have some ideas on some animal or natural behaviors, which is connected with optimization, you want to generalize to some formal optimization and convert it into a formal optimization tool. Or if you have interest to use Beetle antenna search for your specific problem, feel free to contact me.
Yeah, I see. If you type Beetle search in Google or any other search systems, I think first 10 publications will be your publications.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's easy to find your contact.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, in those kind of publications like Science or Nature, those biological people, they usually publish some new identified behaviors of some animals. For those kind of papers, my perspective is like, biological people, they can study the animal behaviors and identify the behaviors. But if we look at from mathematical perspective, for any behavior, they must be trying to optimize a function. There must be a potential function to drive the behavior. So if we are able to establish a relationship, we will be able to discover a new formula to do mathematical formula optimization. And also additionally, the benefit could be, because they experience the natural evolution for those animals or natural behaviors, there must be some elements which is much better in terms of the efficiency for optimization than our human invented tools like gradient descent or whatever it is.
Yes, thank you very much again.